Ryan Nobles, good morning.
Good morning. You didn't tell me Joe Grippo was going to be on, too.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. He heard you were going to be on. He's in here immediately. So,
It's like old days, old
yeah.
times.
Senator, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Congratulations, too. Ryan is a new dad again to you and Carrie. Congratulations.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a full house for sure. 4 children now.
Yeah, crazy.
A little crazy.
Ryan, listen. The congratulations on this promotion. I think I texted you the other day and it said you made the varsity team.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it.
Although I must say, President Trump says that's no varsity team. Amateurs.
Well, if you saw yesterday, Kellyanne Conway officially declared that CNN is not fake news. So
I did see that.
You can all rest easy there.
Yeah, that was.
They heard you got promoted. That was
right.
what happened.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, as Washington correspondent, and listen, there's nothing like we've ever seen. This is like we've never seen before, Ryan. Right?
No, you're absolutely right, Bill. It's the breakneck pace at which this Trump administration is often running, and the sometimes chaotic and unconventional way that they attempt to implement these policies is just something that we've never seen before. You know, at CNN, we've been going, 100 miles an hour for about the last 18 months with the campaign, and we expected the first 100 days to be busy, but we're at basically the same pace we were during the campaign.
Yeah.
It's just incredible to think. And there's really no signs of this slowing down at all. Trump certainly has an agenda that he wants to install, and there's no reason to think that it's going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah. What are you thinking on this, the ban that isn't a ban, the ban on the ban that isn't a ban? Of course, yesterday, the appeals court, I don't know, based on their questions, I don't know if you were able to see any of that, but based on their questions and their response, they did not seem to act positively towards the White House on this.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind that what happened yesterday, that was a hearing just to determine whether or not the restraining order that was put in place by Washington, is okay and can stay in place while the overall legal battle of the constitutionality of the executive order stays. So, yeah, I get the sense that the courts are a little uncomfortable with the executive order as it stands, and so they may leave the restraining order in place. But I wonder, as this court case goes forward, exactly how difficult it's going to be for the opponents of this executive order to find solid constitutional ground to say that it can't be put in place. The President of the United States has really wide breadth when it comes to deciding who gets into this country.
Yeah.
And you may not like the policy. Certainly there are millions of people around the world that don't like the policy, but that doesn't necessarily mean the President of the United States doesn't have the legal right to implement this policy.
And that's what it's interesting because I asked this question earlier this morning of somebody that, this appeal, obviously the appeals court today is, or it could come in 2 weeks. It might come today, but they're really looking at the legality of the fact that they put a hold on this ban. The question that I have, though, is that based solely on legalities, solely on the Constitution, or could they bring into play the fact that it could cause more chaos by re-implementing it?
Right, and that was part of what the conversation was yesterday. One of the points that the Attorney General in Washington State is arguing is that there's some sort of financial impact on the state by having this executive order in place. So they're arguing this on a number of different fronts, and you could even, if you listen to the arguments at all yesterday, which was fascinating. See, they played the arguments live the entire time, which was just audio. You could tell that the lawyers from both sides were really just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that something stuck.
Right.
And they admitted numerous times that they just have not had enough time to really gather all the evidence and make cohesive arguments because this is happening at such a rapid pace. So, I think your point is right. And I think that is going to leave these judges at this appellate level with kind of a wide breadth to determine whether or not they think that this is something that they should put a halt to now, just take a pause, and then wait for it to play out on a broader sense. But, the Trump administration is arguing, the reason that they pushed this through so quickly is that every day that this travel ban is in effect, is the danger that someone, as the president calls it, a bad hombre, may enter into the country and do harm.
Yeah. Yep. And so how do you remove, though? How can you remove this is going to be interesting to see how this goes forward, because how do you remove the president during the campaign saying he was going to ban all Muslims? Then Rudy Giuliani 2 weeks ago coming on Fox and Friends and saying, well, the president came to me and said, how can I legally do this Muslim ban? I'm not sure what Rudy was thinking when he said that. And then also the president talking to the Christian Science Monitor saying, I'm going to give special treatment, expedite for Christians.
Right.
I mean, these three elements, how do you take those away and say they're not a part of this? How do you remove that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you can, first of all, but I do think that there's a higher legal standard in terms of what Trump says after he's inaugurated president versus what he says on the campaign trail. Even though we in the media will hold a politician to the fire when they make a claim during the campaign and attempt to keep that promise during their administration, there's a lower legal barrier there as a candidate versus when you're president. So, the administration can argue, well, this was something that he threw out as a policy proposal during the campaign, but when we got to the brass tacks of actually putting this executive order together, the president understood that really wasn't his central focus. The central focus was these 7 countries that they continue to remind everyone were identified during the Obama administration.
Yeah, right.
Of course, it was Congress that picked out these 7 countries. The Republican-led Congress and the Obama administration kind of went along with it. But still, so that, it had nothing to do with them being Muslim. It had more to do with the fact that they were prone to terrorism. So, but I agree, Bill. I don't think you can ignore that. I think that's definitely a definitive part of this argument, but there's no doubt that it's not as big an impact as it would be if he'd made those comments after being inaugurated president.
And one more thing, Ryan, before we let you go, Senator Schumer headlines today says he has concerns over the Supreme Court nominee Gorsuch. This is a Constitution guy. This is probably the perfect replacement because it's all about the law. It's all about the Constitution. Even Democrats are looking at this guy and saying, it's kind of hard to fight against this guy. Fight this guy.
Sure, but we're in a posture now in Washington, Bill, where Democrats fight against everything Republicans do, and for the last 8 years, Republicans fought against everything Democrats did.
Yeah.
So his resume, I don't know if it really matters all that much. This is a guy that was appointed by someone that Democrats don't really appreciate all that much, and I really think this whole battle over the travel ban is going to play a big role in the confirmation of Gorsuch. Because ultimately, the decision over whether or not this executive order is constitutional is going to fall with the Supreme Court. I think most people believe that.
Yep.
So you've got a court right now that's not even filled out completely. It's 8-8. So if you're a Democrat and you hate this executive order, you have every motivation, a second layer of motivation to stand in the way of the Gorsuch nomination because you want to cause a degree of uncertainty with what happens if this makes it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Or is Gorsuch the guy who actually says it's all unconstitutional? I mean, he could be that guy.
Well, the one thing we know for sure, Bill, is it doesn't matter who a president appoints as the Supreme Court justice. One of the reasons that the lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court is such a vital part of our democracy is that these Supreme Court justices, the second they take the bench, become independent thinkers. And, the best example is the Chief Justice Roberts. And how he ruled on same-sex marriage and on Obamacare. He didn't toe the party line in that respect.
Yeah.
So, there's no guarantee that Gorsuch gets sit on the bench and that first decision falls in line with the Trump administration. He certainly seems to be a man of credibility that's going to do what he believes the Constitution tells him.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, good stuff. Ryan Noble's now Washington correspondent for CNN, all the way from Brockport, right, is where it all began.
Right, same with Senator Griffel.
Yep, all right, good stuff.
I'm ready to replace Chris Cuomo right now after listening to that.
All right, good stuff, Ryan. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy. Bye.
Ryan will be on every Wednesday this time.